This is the Oz report for August 14th, 2021. And the items that we're going to talk about today are not much different from what we talked about last week, because the trends that we were seeing are still going on. And that's why I want to start with isotopes and fuel blocks. If we look at isotopes, we know that last week they jumped in price by a large amount, and that is because we saw a lot of capitals being extracted from Delve by the PAPIC coalition, and so still some of them are still keeping high in price. If you look at helium isotopes, hydrogen isotopes, they've come down a little bit in price. Nitrogen is still high, oxygen is still the highest. So this rally has been going on for about 8 or 9 days, and I think there was a possibility that it would have come down by now, but apparently the stockpiles of isotopes aren't that large out there, and so right now it's partly demand, but also partly a lot of speculation, so it's kind of hard to separate the two. Anyway, they are still trading high. If you have them, try to get rid of them. This isn't going to last forever. It's going to end certainly in the next week or two. So make sure you cash in on those. Last week I also mentioned that the knock-on effect from isotopes that you're going to see is going to be fuel blocks, because fuel blocks are the other big thing that uses the isotopes, and that is exactly what happened. While last week during the Oz report, most of the fuel blocks were trading at around 25k, we're now seeing them at 29 helium fuel blocks, hydrogen already 32, nitrogen at 30, and oxygen at 33. So you could have already made a nice little buck on that tip last week, and expect them to be a little bit lagging just because of production time, but also here they're not going to go extremely higher than this either. So expect isotopes to kind of stay flat a little bit longer and then start falling off, and fuel blocks to be dropping a few days after that. It's just right now there can't be as much mining as the demand is calling for, and that's why prices aren't dropping yet. So that's isotopes and fuel blocks. Other than that, we saw two big areas jumping in price this week, and that is drone parts and salvage goods. And that is presumably the drone parts are because of excavator drones. If you're looking at excavator drones, they have jumped in price incredibly. They've made a lot of money for our funds, because I, as you know, was keeping quite a few stockpiles of excavators. I thought this buyout was a regular buyout, as I mentioned last week. It was not. It was, I think, probably, I saw a lot of goon buyers among them, but it's probably goons stocking up on mining equipment, going back to town to mine and delve. And so we are seeing ice harvesting drones at 390 million, which, if you look at the graph, it's just an insane price. And mining drones at 400 million. I was actually able to sell some of these at 500 or 550 million this week. And that is just insane. It has nothing to do with the production cost. And that is why people are flocking to other drone parts, because what they're doing is they're using these capillary fluids, the cerebral fragments, elite drone AI. They're all part of excavator drones, as you can see right here. And so people are buying up all of these supplies of those items in order to build excavator drones, either because they can't buy them anymore, or because they want to profit from the margin that is currently going on there. I think it's going to be very short-lived, because that's a current spurt. The high excavator prices can't stick around forever. People are going to start producing them. If we look at the the blueprint market, it's basically bought out. So right now the bottleneck that you're seeing on excavator supply is the blueprints, and so we'll see. Interestingly enough, we'll see what that means. You can see though a little bit of a glimpse here that there is supply out there. So somebody's selling 81 excavator mining drones at 420 million right now, with the daily average being typically around 10 or 20, and right now hitting 100 to 200. So drone parts, that rally on the drone parts is because of the excavator drones. Try to get rid of your drone parts right now too, because that is also not going to last forever. The other one is salvage goods. So salvage goods, I've listed the most traded ones that were rallying. So burnt logic circuits, contaminated Lorentz fluid, enhanced word console. These are all big salvage good items that had massive rallies going on this week, and that is just people constructing rigs. I don't know if it's directly related, so you guys can probably educate me on this, but I don't know if it's only directly related to Goon's production machine getting kickstarted again, or if it's because people are looking at opportunities out there and are just being led to produce stuff again because of the tax cut, because of the cash everyone received. It's people starting production again for various reasons that are definitely though connected to the war, because this all started right after we saw the war end. So we'll keep a close watch on that salvage market. But if you're holding on to large stockpiles there, also good idea to kind of look at selling on some of these spikes. That's everything out of salvaged and drone parts. Now let's take a look really quick at the new tool that I'm using right now. This is a query that I have put together that is looking at all items that are currently trading above $1 billion a day, and where production cost is 10% below current cost, or above, I should say. That means that these are all things that are currently, if you build them, you're losing money. And that is typically a good indicator of prices rising sometime soon, because producers will not produce under value typically, right? Unless they have a very good reason to do so. So let me just mention some of them here. Last month last week on the Oz report, we talked about the freighters that were still not being produced a lot because the build cost was way higher than the sell cost. Right now, let's look at jump freighters as well. The Anshar and the Rhea. Those are two jump freighters that are trading around 14, 15 billion. The build cost, if you look at the tool, the build cost is still around 16.6 billion, depending on where you will build them. Obviously there's a lot of factors involved into that, but that just shows you that right now jump freighters are still trading after the industry changes from April. They're still trading below sell cost or build cost, and that is a good indicator of prices rising a little bit more. You can see they've already done so in the past, right? They've already increased in price prior to the April update as soon as they were announced, but then also afterwards, because they're inching closer to that build price. And it's going to be stopping sometime, but not sometime in the next week or two, because there's still room to grow. There's 3 battleships where that is also the case that are trading below, although with some of these with LP stores, it's kind of difficult to say whether you know, whether it's a whether there's other ways of acquiring the ship cheaper, but the Macarial, the Nestor, and the Nightmare are all ships that if you have the blueprint and you build them, then they are not worth it right now. And so there, you can keep an eye on those and see where they're going. If you look at some two more things before we end the Oz report for this week, that the components and the production is worth more than the actual price, then you can look at advanced moon materials. Crystalline carbonite and fullerites, for example, those are two that have dropped in price enough where they are cheaper now on the sell price than they would be to produce. So to me, those are also two goods that I am investing in because I am expecting them to rise again in the future. All right. Boom, that's the Oz report for the 14th of August 2021, and we're gonna return to the regular stream saying thanks for watching.